and Norway, where the nature is unlike anything you've ever seen, where there's infinite possibilities for a good adventure, even if it'll cost you. You can see a little bit of something. It's the country that gave birth to the guy who led the polar expedition to Antarctica, Roald Amundsen, who said, "Adventure is just bad planning." I'd like to agree with him. Most of the greatest adventures come from things not going according to plan.
It's all part of the adventure, isn't it?
But I would say traveling on a budget tends to need a plan. Luckily, I found a happy medium.
This is so funny.
Here's what happened on my 10-day trip to Norway.
Come on, people.
Including how much I spent and all the things I'd learned.
So here we go.
I came to Norway, land of the fjords and Brunost, for 2 reasons. 1, to ski to the top of the highest mountain, Bergen. And 2, to drink up as much nature as possible, as our story starts and ends in Oslo, Norway, the place where the cheapest planes fly into.
The airport is so clean.
I was plopped in the airport.
I have no idea what to expect. I just Googled 10 minutes ago how to get to the hostel that I'm staying in tonight. So this is gonna be quite the adventure.
And had 2 train choices to get to the city center. The fast expensive one and the less fast, not so expensive one. On the train in, a local was telling me about life in Norway and what it was like to live in Oslo. This would turn out to be funny because I would have a similar conversation on my way back with a TikToking priest. Neither liked living there. Interesting.
This is gorgeous. I think I'm already in love.
So where are you supposed to sleep in the most expensive country in Europe?
It's not bad.
My options were a sleeping bag or a hostel. So I opted for the one with an oven.
Is this just Norway? This is freaking cool. And if I test it out, maybe I can have freaking pizza tonight or something.
The kitchen did come in handy and it helped save me money as groceries for 2 days cost me 13 euros at Kiwi, one of the budget markets.
Looks clean.
The hostel scene in Oslo is fine and worked for my last minute booking. If you're going in peak season, I recommend booking early. So even though I had a full-on kitchen in my room, I couldn't cook every meal, of course, especially since this is the foodie city.
Good choice. This will probably be my first and last beer in Norway. This is 11 euro.
I spent a total of 4 days in Oslo, which was way too long in my opinion. It's a pretty neat city as far as European cities go, but I think its wonder and mystique lies in the nature around it. But I wouldn't have the chance to see it this time. My restless feet were itching to get to the next place, so I would be going from Oslo to Bergen in what is considered one of the most beautiful train rides in Norway.
About to get on. I've noticed something really cool. So the way they've got it set up is they actually show you where to go in the train. Like they've got the letters which correlate with the platform, and then you've got the number, and so obviously the number is on your ticket, which is just brilliant. I've taken many trains across Europe and this is the first time it's been so simple to find my carriage, and I feel really special because it actually says my name on it.
Anyways, my idea was to sleep on the train, and in the morning when the sun rises at 5 a.m, take in the views outside. Stupid move or brilliant budget saver?
Here we are in the toilet. Pretty standard train toilet. Got a sink. Clean toilet. So I'm gonna dip my sink, brush my teeth, change into my cozy jammies.
Believe me when I say it's not optimism, but for me it was the right decision. A few hours of dream-like sleep later.
Welcome to Bergen.
Arriving in Bergen, I felt like Harry Potter getting off the Hogwarts Express for the first time. I just knew this place was where I belonged.
I'm really tired.
So as soon as I got to Bergen, I went to a coffee shop and people watched. Between 7 a.m. and 9 a.m., I noticed that only 11 out of 100 people were glued to their phones as they walked to work or school. I wondered what they thought about, and were they happy?
I love people watching. People seem so happy.
Were they truly just enjoying life so much they felt like they didn't need a distraction? When I could finally check into my hostel, I dropped my bags and headed for one of Bergen's 7 mountains. If you don't know, Bergen means mountain in many Scandinavian languages. My mission for this misty morning was to hike to some point in nature. I wasn't sure where, to be honest. It was a chilly one. Norway taught me that even if you hike for hours, you're not guaranteed a view. So that's why I brought some great snacks.
It's kind of cool. It's like we're in a cloud. But what's freaky is that like this is like a cliff edge right here, and there's a lake just down there. So maybe on our way back it'll clear a little bit. I hope.
Oh my gosh. It tastes like peanut butter, but like a little bit cheesy. This is so good.
It's like the backup dopamine kick when there's no jaw-dropping scenery. You do need a rain jacket though, and to pack for 4 seasons in general for your trip, not just for Bergen, because you really never know what weather is coming.
We're in Bergen right now.
Next up on my to-do list was to figure out if I could go on one of these famous fjord cruises. As it turns out, it actually wasn't possible because for the rest of the days I would spend in Bergen, I had to work until 3 p.m. Yes, I do have a job that requires me to do that. I actually have several jobs that keep the lights on and the YouTube channel going, so my working hours would limit what I could do. I learned that fjord tours don't go after 4 p.m, so I was out of luck. Since I was a lucky digital nomad, I would be cooking all of my meals in the hostel kitchen, and this was my grocery load. Now when I did eat out, I realized I got charged to eat in, like stay inside instead of taking it to go.
I found a really nice little bakery because I wanted to have some coffee and a tasty little treat. So I wanted something sweet, which is weird for me because normally I'm a very salty person. After doing some eavesdropping, I learned that you actually get charged for eating in. So I think the difference was like the equivalent of about €2. So it's cheaper to take away than to stay, which actually kind of makes sense if you think about it because you're using the facilities. You gotta choose your battles.
At this point, it had been a week that I was in Norway, and I kept noticing the same thing. The peace, the quiet, and how people just seemed content. I rarely saw someone causing a scene, or shouting, or playing loud music, or scrolling through their social media feed very loudly in public. People respect and care for each other and the world around them. I felt safe and welcomed as an outsider.
Gosh, I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe where I am right now. Like, wow.
Obviously, with that warm, fuzzy feeling, I didn't want to leave, but a 12-hour journey was awaiting me. And the best part? It was like a 2-for-1 deal. I got transported to the next destination and had an epic tour of Norway's lands. The whole bus ride, I was smiling from ear to ear and watching out the window while eating my snacks. If you can't or don't want to rent a vehicle, these other forms of transport are also amazing, comfortable, and fairly affordable. There is a catch when it comes to these VY buses though.
So everything's normally on time here in Norway, and I was panicking because I translated from Norwegian to English, and it said you had to purchase your ticket 15 minutes beforehand, which I did. I purchased it a few days ago for the next bus, but then I was panicking. I was like, oh my gosh, what if I did something else wrong? Like I didn't like alert something or like click a button because everything was in Norwegian, you know? But pretty sure that's my ride on that boat.
You have to buy your ticket online more than 15 minutes before the bus's scheduled arrival. If you don't, they won't stop. I do think that having your own transport would be best though. Renting or bringing your own tiny home, I think is the way to go. Next time, I think that's what I'll do.
Oh, I'm so clever. I could have taken a bus and I could have gone from, where was I, Bergen? I could have gone with bus all the way to Lom, which is like where I'm going to start Galhopigen. But I thought I haven't been able to do a fjord cruise or anything just because of like timing and the way it all worked out. So I thought if I can do like one leg of the journey with a boat, because I love riding boats as well, like this would be epic. And look, wow.
Peak 11. Hopefully tomorrow. It should be interesting. Interesting sleep setup here. Didn't realize that you needed to ask for sheets. I stayed in my own private room, sleeping on a bed in my sleeping bag because I didn't realize sheets aren't included in the €80 price. I always come prepared, I guess. Okay, good night. So after 12 hours of travel from Bergen to Lam, a 4-hour sleep, and a noodle cup breakfast, I had a huge challenge on my hands that would rely on the kindness of strangers.
Honestly, just can't help but laugh. I'm just like, okay, well this is the road to the base, Javaswitcha. And yeah, walk and hope that somebody's gonna pass. In planning this whole thing, the one thing I did not account for was that the bus, I think it's the 202 that you normally take in June, July and August to get to Javaswitcha, doesn't go in May. It's not tourist season yet. So things are a little bit cheaper, you can wing it a little bit easier, but that also does mean there are some unexpected hurdles.
Jontunheimen National Park is definitely worth a visit, but be aware if you are planning to ski. Norwegian mountain skis are not the same as what you might have experienced downhill skiing. These were way different from the cross-country skis I'm used to in Canada. Let's just say my butt got very well acquainted to the ground on my way down the glacier. So if this is something you're hoping to do for the first time, I highly recommend taking a mini course before getting an initiation by ice.
There she is. It's gonna be peak 11. Oh, let's go, let's go.
I got back to Lam at 6 p.m. I was pretty tired, as you can imagine, and I needed to make a big decision. I had no place booked for that night, and my mission was to get to another bigger town called Otta. But what I found out was that there weren't any options that would get me back to Oslo before my flight. At this moment, I thought I was screwed. So my only option turned out to be getting a night bus at 1:30 a.m. from Lam to Oslo. I don't get why so much of the transport has middle of the night operation. Can there not just be a reasonable time? And I slept in my sleeping bag at the bus stop like the good little traveler I am until my VY ride showed up.
Yeah, it's 1:30 in the morning.
Next time I'll have to plan a little bit better. Then again, according to what our friend Roald Amundsen said, adventure is just bad planning, right? And my 10 days in Norway were one hell of an adventure. Be careful though. You might want to stay forever. I hope your time in Norway is as enchanting as the northern lights that sparkle the sky every once in a while. Happy adventuring, my friends.